This is the Lenovo Legion GO S. So with more and more handheld gaming PCs on the market, there never really was anything like the Steam Deck OLED. But what if we took the power of the handheld PCs based on Windows 11 and mixed it up with the SteamOS from Steam Deck? This is what happens. This is the Lenovo Legion GO S on the Steam Deck OS. So while this is made by Lenovo, this is the Legion GO S, well, it is working on the Steam OS, so in theory, it should be the best of both worlds, having the more powerful chipset that you normally see on the Asus ROG Ally or the Lenovo Legion Go, but with Steam OS, meaning a more game console-like experience. And best of all, because the Steam OS is a lighter of the two, it should benefit in-game. But in reality, how good is the Lenovo Legion GO S? So first off, let's go over what this has to offer. From the get-go, as you can see, it is a unibody design, so there is no taking off the controllers. This is how it is made, but it is made to be a slightly bigger handheld gaming PC. So it isn't on the smaller side, because as you can see, this has an 8-inch display, which is an IPS panel which can go up to 120 Hz, meaning you can play games at up to 120 frames per second. Also, it's not a traditional 16:9 aspect ratio. It is a full HD display, but it's not a normal traditional one. So it's something more like this Steam Deck's display, which is one of the highlights of this gaming PC handheld, as it is a real joy to use. It looks really good, the colors are wonderful, and because it is around a full HD display, it's not going to be hard to run natively with that display. And like I said before, the size of the screen really makes this a joy to use. Second off, you're going to find that there are speakers on the front, which is another added nice benefit because this is front facing, so when you're gaming, it is going straight to you. So it just makes it better for the audio and visual quality in terms of this. Another thing is, it isn't the smallest, it isn't the lightest, but because of that, there is actually space for proper, nice back grips. Essentially, they really fit nicely in hand. It is a really circular design. It really, like, there's no edges here. It really feels really polished, and it feels like a single unit going back, like there's no cutoffs, but it feels pretty nicely in hand. While it maybe isn't my favorite in terms of grip compared to all the competition there is out there, I would say it's on the better end, like one of the better there is out there. On the top you'll find a cooling vent, USB-Cs, and the power on and a volume up and down. We also have two additional back buttons if you are into that kind of stuff. And on the front we have a traditional layout, but I have to say that the analog sticks do feel really good. They are on the lighter side, but they do feel really good in game, and they feel like a proper gaming controller. Compared to the Steam Deck, there are no dual touchpads on the side, but for many this might not be a problem. And last but not least, from just the build quality of it, we have the bumpers and the triggers. The thing with the triggers is you can use them like a normal traditional trigger, or you can actually close the triggers, and now you have more something like a digital instant trigger. So for example, if you're playing something more competitive and you want to have those instant triggers for shooting games, this is a nice addition to have. So you can just with one click have those instant triggers, really fast response time, or if you're playing something like a racing game and you want to have that full throttle control, you can just put it down, and now you have the full triggers again. Overall, from the build quality perspective, this is a solid handheld PC. I feel like there's nothing I would say that is bad about it, and overall I feel like it's a really good feeling handheld. Overall, it just is a real joy to use. But it is on the bigger side, so if you want something that is small, lightweight for travel, as with many handheld gaming PCs, this isn't the lightest or the smallest, so you have to take that in consideration. But nonetheless, it is a really nice handheld. But what makes the biggest difference when you compare this to something like the Steam Deck OLED or the Steam Deck is not only the faster panel, which goes up to 120 Hz, which means 120 frames per second, but also this stronger processing power that this has, because this is based on the AMD's Z1 Extreme chip, which you might know from something like the Asus ROG Ally, meaning that this is much more powerful than the Steam Deck and the Steam Deck OLED. You see, the thing here is, while it is running on the Steam OS, which you might know from the Steam Deck and the Steam Deck OLED, it is much more powerful. So in theory, this should be the best of both worlds. The power of the other Windows-based handhelds, but also the simplicity, the game-like menus, the game-like OS, and just the lightweight aspect of SteamOS. And in that regard, you can actually see that. By the way, during the Black Friday, you have to check out Instant Gaming. From November 28th to December 1st, you can find great deals on games such as Arc Raiders, Battlefield 6, Pokemon, and many more. Some of the best and most popular games out there at the moment, and all of them with incredible discounts throughout the whole weekend. Not only that, every hour one lucky customer gets their whole card refunded, completely free. The winners are gonna be announced through the Instant Gaming Discord channel, a great place for gamers to find other gamers to play with and discuss their favorite games. Remember to check back into Instant Gaming every day for new game unlocks and more sales. Refunds happen throughout the whole weekend, every hour, so there's a real chance to win. But be quick, as this is only a 4-day event from November 28th to December 1st. Not only that, if you're interested in a giveaway, together with Instant Gaming we're doing a giveaway where one of you can win a game of your choice. If you're interested in this month's giveaway, check out the link down below. As you load up the games from the SteamOS, everything works pretty much the way it would work on the Steam Deck and the Steam Deck OLED, but the thing is, on here you have more processing power, meaning that the games usually tend to run at better quality and better frame rates than the same games when tested on the Steam Deck OLED. And this comes to two things: the optimization and the light aspect of the SteamOS, but also the added benefit of that more powerful chipset. And while this still means that you're gonna play games just from the Steam library, and if you get some other Ubisoft or Epic Game Store into it, you can play that too, but mostly you're gonna play from SteamOS. So you're probably gonna play games that are single player games or games that you have on your library. You won't be able to play all the modern AAA games online, especially because of the limitations of the SteamOS being based on Linux. But if you're, for example, playing something like Batman Arkham Trilogy or No Man's Sky or any other game that you might have, usually you're gonna find a nice benefit of extra frame rates. And not only that, if you're playing something like an indie game where you can really push it to the maximum, you can actually take advantage of the 120Hz display. For example, Circuit Superstars is being maxed out on 120 frames per second on this console. While on the Steam Deck OLED, even if you find a game that you can max out at 90Hz, it is gonna stop at that 90 frames per second, so you can always push this a little bit farther. For example, one game that you can play competitively online through the SteamOS is Marvel Rivals, and I did test it out on Steam Deck OLED, and it was playable, but at 30 frames per second with kind of a lower kind of graphics. But on here, you can definitely push it much farther with better frame rates and visual quality. And best of all, because you have the instant triggers, you can actually take advantage of that in shooter games like that. In my opinion, this is a solid option. Essentially, if you are someone that would like to have something like the Steam Deck, but you would like to have a little bit more power than the Steam Deck actually provides, then this is a super solid option. Not only you get a really nice, good feeling in hand Steam Deck kind of experience, but you also get just the more powerful chipset that the Z1 Extreme is. And you can actually get this in the Windows 11 option, but the thing is, with the SteamOS, you actually get the benefit of even more frames per second, better resolutions in games, because the SteamOS is so much lighter than the Windows 11 is on a handheld. So in that regard, this is a super nice hybrid kind of approach. The better hardware with the real nice to use SteamOS. The SteamOS is such a joy to use, but you know, there is limitations with Steam Deck that it's up to 900p, 90 frames per second in the OLED model, 60 in the not OLED model, where this is pushing that much farther with a really nice big screen, sharper screen, and faster screen. And because of the better processing power, you can actually play the same games in better quality. You can definitely feel it on something like No Man's Sky or The Witcher 3, for example, making this feel almost like a Steam Deck Pro. In conclusion, I have to say that this is a great option for those that want to have that real console-like experience that the SteamOS provides, but feel that the Steam Deck just doesn't have the power that they wish it had for the games that they want to play. This really opens up the door for many different games that maybe would not be possible with the Steam Deck, but are now possible because of the Z1 Extreme chip that really is a super powerful chip on a handheld PC like this. And even the games that would be possible to run on Steam Deck are gonna run better and look better on this than the Steam Deck. Well, the price isn't too far off from the Steam Deck OLED, so if you're looking for one, I would highly recommend checking out this, if maybe this is more your alleyway. But it's a good one nonetheless, so there are some benefits and disadvantages, but overall this is a great option. With that being said, if you have any more questions about the Lenovo Legion Go, let me know in the comment section down below. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this video once again, and I'll see you next time.